there's a prevailing sentiment that, and we see this play out in reality, that women would rather share a high value man than be saddled with a loser who's faithful to her. So I just want to go around and get the ladies' thoughts on that. Do you agree? Do you disagree? And why? Angie, let's start with you.
Has to be the extreme, huh?
Oh, yeah. Those are your only two choices. Because think about it. If this was 500 years ago, that was your only options. You got to be with the king or you're with a peasant farmer. They didn't have middle class back then. That didn't exist.
I would rather be the mistress.
Why?
If I'm going to have kids that have better opportunity in the future and I can deal with my emotion, I'm all right with that. I'll be okay. But I have better future, better life, better problems. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Jada, what about you?
Sorry, I can't hear Moth for some reason. I can hear everyone else.
Everybody else hear me?
Really? Yeah.
Audio dropping out.
We hear you good.
Okay. You'll just have to repeat the question for Natalie.
Yeah, I'll just repeat it.
Yeah.
I would say the king's mistress, just because there were peasant farmers that had multiple wives too. So I'd rather have a nice cushiony place to sleep, I guess. That might be my answer.
So monogamy, when it's, as long as there's a house and there's clean sheets and beds and all that, but that's more important than monogamy in this case. Having money, better opportunities for children, being able to live in a nice house, not being poor, right? So, that's more important than sexual exclusivity, it sounds like. Yes?
Yeah.
No? Okay. Just curious. Just asking. Yeah. Okay. Camila.
Obviously, the poor man. I don't know. I just value loyalty that much. I'm willing to put up with hardship. I don't care. It's also like, how many times, as a Latina, I don't know, but like, how many times do you hear like your grandma tell you a story about how all the aunties and grandmas had a proposition from the richest man in their town, and they could have had the life of luxury, but guess where they're at? With your grandpa, and he wasn't the richest man. That happens often. It's not obviously like aligned with women's instincts, but it's kind of like what you said. It's discipline. It's like, okay, you want loyalty, then you have to get a man that will be loyal, not like the guy that won't be. The king won't be, probably. Highly likely that he won't be.
Well, again, if you're a mistress, he's not loyal to you. A mistress means you're not the wife.
Yeah.
Mistress just means you're the side chick.
I forgot about that. I thought I was thinking for some reason of like concubines, because concubines are kind of married.
You're the side chick. You're not the queen. You're the side chick, and he's not giving you kids.
Then no, like house. I'm not being that poor man's queen.
Okay, Aaron, what about you?
I could never be the side chick, like, ever. So I would pick the peasant for sure. I could never share my man with anyone. Like, so I would.
Do women understand what being a peasant actually meant? Like, no running water,
I can't
no
do
electricity.
So,
no, you would die.
A roof.
I just can't.
A roof.
I can't.
Hold on, Casey.
Homeless, basically.
You're on a dirt floor.
Yep.
You have a roof that doesn't work. You can hardly afford food. You're eating gruel every day. You're basically homeless. I know. And in this scenario, you're choosing essentially homelessness over living in a king's house and just sharing him with his wife.
It seems like you're kind of trying to funnel me towards a certain answer.
I'm just making sure.
I love that you're trying to do that, but I'm like, I would never.
I'm just making sure you understand. I'm making sure you understand the gravity of the choice that you're making.
Well,
because being a peasant is not the same as being. There's low class Section 8 housing that you still live better than a peasant in the 15th century, 16th century.
Of course.
So as long as we're on the same page, like there's nobody alive today that's living worse than a peasant was 500 years ago.
She's choosing the dirty ground under the bridge.
You're kind of implying that like being the mistress is better. That's kind of what I'm getting
The
from
sex
this.
is
No,
probably
I'm
crazy in that
saying-
hut, dude.
I'm
So-
You don't
saying.
know?
I mean,
I'm
but
saying.
if there are
What
only
if-
two options and they're both these extremes, right? And there's no middle class, there's no middle ground, and you
Correct.
seem to be you know what I mean? Like,
So that's an
I see-
environment
I
that
see
you're
what
going
you're
to bring.
saying, Aaron.
You're going to bring up kids in that environment. You think that's a conducive area for kids to be brought up in a raise a family?
well, I don't think that bringing kids in an environment where it just the thought of like my husband sleeping with other people makes me feel like I want to vomit. Like it makes me feel sick. Like I could never deal with that. So yeah, I would choose like the peasant life and the monogamy if I only had those choices.
But Mom,
So, yeah.
Okay.
listen to this
Casey,
one.
you have the
Check
same
this one
answer
out.
then?
Hold on,
That's
Kayla.
just me, not for
Okay.
everyone, but that's just how I roll, I guess.
No,
Casey Marie.
100%. If my guy does that, yes, I will go voluptuous, but it is what it is. There are men. And that's what, like, I think it took me so long for me to understand that. Like, they're just gonna do whatever they're gonna do, bro. Regardless, you know?
Yeah.
We're here
about-
Okay.
as women.
Okay.
No, we're here. And I was with my guy and I wanted to give him kids, you know, but it didn't work. And I'm the type where it's just like, you know, take them all and voluptuous, blah, blah, blah. But now it's like, I don't know. Life, I think, is taking us on different plays right now, but I think it's just about being strategic. Yes, as a woman, you don't want to disrespect yourself, and I don't want to disrespect myself because I'm like over here, like with a guy, I'm waiting for him. I'm not gonna wait for him forever,
Right.
you know. But if he doesn't want it, if he wants to keep going to strip clubs, if that's his thing, that's fine, you know. Like,
Well, maybe this is your sign that you should have a conversation. You guys could talk about the future and potentially reconcile. Maybe this is what you needed to realize that, or maybe not.
I
Maybe.
think
Or not. Oh, we'll see.
I'm sorry, I don't know what this means. I'm sorry. I wish I had something.
Yeah.
Natalie.
Yeah, finish
That
it
was
off.
tough.
With Natalie, just to restate the question, it was, hold on. It was, would you rather be the peasant's wife or would you rather be the king's mistress?
Yeah, I kind of resonate with what Aaron said. It is kind of a silly hypothetical question, but I would
It's not that
choose
silly.
well, I think it
You have
is.
two options.
I'm
And-
saying, but like the two, this is a realistic scenario that you would have been faced with 500 years ago.
If we weren't lucky enough to be born in today's age.
So it's not like it's not like it's
Answer that
Right.
completely out to lunch.
That's it.
Come
Yeah, I
on.
agree with what you just said. That's exactly why I think it's silly. But yeah, I'll tell you why I would choose the peasant, because the peasant like at least has room to improve his life. Or let's put it in today's terms. If you're someone who's making 50K, you at least have room to improve your life. And I'm assuming there's going to be children in this scenario. I would rather raise my children with someone who there's a mom and dad in the same home versus being someone's like secret mistress, despite all the money and jewels that may come with that. So that's my stance, and I'm gonna wait for a guy who feels the same way.
Natalie, you can't help
Okay.
but add. You
You're
can't
so
help but add your
beautiful
own
for that.
things to the
100%.
story.
just so you,
You
know,
can't
you're
help but
Let
add your
Jada speak.
own things to the story.
Well,
pretty
I
impressive.
live life by my own
really
rules,
are.
so yes, that is
Yeah,
fine.
but like that's why this question doesn't work, because if you can make up whatever the scenario is and answer it, then it's really easy to not be honest about it. But that's
because
okay.
you're a
I
man.
answered honestly.
Because you're a man.
Yeah, but you didn't answer the question. Like you're making things. It's like, oh, like, well,
He
I mean, if we were gonna
answered
like,
your question.
but we're talking like, no, if you were a peasant, you were doomed to be a peasant. There is no There's no peasantry. There's no college. There's no university where you can better yourself. Like you're a peasant. You're a farmer. That's your future.
Yeah.
That's it. The peasant doesn't become the king.
Have you ever seen that show, The 100?
No, I can't say that I have. All right.
No?
On that note, we're going to wrap that up. Me and Spencer are going to do some housekeeping. Ladies, we're going to pull everybody out. What a show. A lot of fun for returning guests. As always, you're invited back on. Had a great time. I got to get my blood pressure checked after this. But, I had a good time.
I want to say one thing, and it's short.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, go ahead.
One thing, and it's short.
No.
Go ahead.
You might not
I
know,
doubt it'll
Ma.
be short,
No.
Camila.
Sex in that hut might be crazy, Ma.
Oh my god.
Sex with that
right.
There you
king
go.
might be
Crazy.
weird as hell.
Gonna get crazy.
Yeah. You and your UTI and the dirty dick. Yeah. All right.
Oh gosh,
Pull the
yeah.
ladies
That
out.
UTI was great.
God damn.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Having sex in the goddamn
Thank you
pig
very
pen.
much.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.